And there we are. Except for that, so I have to close that a little bit, yeah. Krishna Govinda Hari Murai. And then when I start, then I don't know. Yeah, that's good. See, the light's good here, it's natural light. Yeah. So then when I start, I just hit record. And
sweet. So you're already live.
I'm just waiting for them. They were supposedly notified. We'll find out what happened if they don't show up. Yeah, or maybe they think it's 3:15, I don't know. Anyway, I can read. Welcome everyone, we're waiting for you. So this, yeah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, we're going to read from Jasoda binds Lord Krishna, text 15. So, Kruti, you're coming to Mayapur? Did I remember correctly? You're going to be there? You're going to leave everything and run off to Mayapur? Well, if you come to Mayapur, then I'm going to come back to Australia on the 7th. So, 10th canto. What chapter is this? Oh my God.
Thanks.
You're welcome. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada. Chapter 8. No. Not chapter 8. Hold on, everyone. I was just with my godbrother, and we were talking, and I'm a little late. Okay, good. But I think I'm going to fly to my flight first to Perth. Chapter 9, Lord Krishna binds Jasoda. Lord Krishna binds Jasoda, right? Exactly. That's what is happening. That's the esoteric meaning. In word text, but actually it looks like Krishna's being bound by Jasoda, but he's actually binding Jasoda. Yeah, so we're going to read, if you want to read along, we're going to read, and I will put on my reading voice just for you. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll read the verses and Prabhupada's purports, and then we will read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purports. And I don't have my glasses, and hopefully I can see. So this is chapter 9, 10th canto, and this is text 15. When Jasoda was trying to bind the offending child, she saw that the binding rope was short by a distance the width of 2 fingers. Thus she brought another rope to join it. Jai Sundari Radha. All glories to Australia. Here is the first chapter in Krishna's exhibition of unlimited potency to Mother Jasoda. The Lord has already shown his unlimited potency by killing Putana, Shaktasura, and Trinavarta. Now Krishna exhibited another vibhuti, or display of potency, to Mother Jasoda. Quote, unless I agree, Krishna desired to show, you cannot bind me. Thus, although Mother Jasoda, in her attempt to bind Krishna, added one rope after another, ultimately she was a failure. When Krishna agreed, however, she was successful. This problem with phones is they're always refocusing. And I think it refocuses because of the light that is coming in from behind me. So I should actually have a... Let's try to move this way and see if that prevents the problem. In other words, one must be in transcendental love with Krishna, but that does not mean that one cannot control Krishna. When Krishna is satisfied with one's devotional service, he does everything himself. Sevanmukhi hi jivado swayam eva sparatyada. He reveals more and more to the devotee as the devotee advances in service. Jivadao. This service begins with the tongue, with chanting and taking Krishna prasadam. Atasri Krishna namadi nabhaved graimindriya sevanmukhi hi jivado swayameva sparatyada. So this story is nice because it's showing us that you can't bind Krishna unless Krishna allows you. And in that sense, you can use this as an analogy or an allegory for anything that we're trying to do, that unless Krishna sanctions, we can't be successful, even if everything is lined up. And, some people will say, well, if you just do A, B, C, and D, you'll be successful. And we say, that's true, but you need Krishna's sanction. And if he doesn't sanction, you won't be. And sometimes you don't do A, B, C, and D, and you're successful because Krishna has sanctioned, even though maybe you're not supposed to be successful. And I've been reading memoirs of Rameshwar Prabhu, and Rameshwar Prabhu was very close to Prabhupada. And I was thinking about Prabhupada's mission and his success. And one of the things we see in Prabhupada's success is that he attracted many devotees, and he attracted devotees who were very enthusiastic to serve him. And he met many people, and many things happened. And so how can all of this happen? When I was with Prabhupada, a lot of times I would think, how are so many things going on? Because personally I'm here with Prabhupada, and it doesn't look like he's doing a lot, but a lot of things are happening around him. So, of course, one observation was that Prabhupada's inspiring everyone, but the other observation is that Krishna's doing it. So, there's so many things that were just done by Krishna, one after another, to make this movement successful. And so that's how it works. And that's the point Prabhupada's making, is that you have your endeavor, but your endeavor alone is not everything. It may be you don't endeavor sufficiently, but you have mercy and things may happen. And much greater than anything you could create. Sometimes things happen to us and they just kind of like fall out of the sky, opportunities. And we couldn't have created those opportunities. It's just Krishna presented them. He was satisfied with us, and he makes things happen. So we should have that attitude that it's not, we should endeavor, but it's not only my endeavor, it's Krishna's desire. So, let's read what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. Though Jasoda could bind her child by love, and though the size of her lap was small, still the small form of the boy was all-powerful. This is shown in 3 verses. Krishna was thinking, I cannot be bound up because I must do my daily duties of stealing yogurt and playing with my friends. It's an interesting insight into this Leela. Why couldn't Jasoda tie Krishna up? Because Krishna had business, and if she ties him up, he can't do his business. Krishna's Vibhuti Shakti, the power to show or reveal his opulence, inspired by his Satya Sankalpa Shakti, the power to fulfill each and every desire of the Lord, suddenly entered into his body at that time. Thus the rope remain 2 fingers too short, no matter how many ropes Jasoda tied together. Okay, so let's unpack that for those of you who may not have understood or missed that idea. What does that mean? Krishna's Vibhuti Shakti, the power to show his opulence, inspired by his Satya Sankalpa Shakti, the power to fulfill each and every desire of the Lord, suddenly entered into his body. So, he didn't want, same point, he didn't want to be bound, because he had important things to do, and important places to go, and important people to see. So this is text 16. This new rope also was short by a measurement of 2 fingers. And when another rope was joined to it, it was still 2 fingers too short. As many ropes as she joined, all of them failed. Their shortness could not be overcome. And there's no purport in Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, but there is a short purport by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Bandhanam means the rope for binding Krishna. Whatever ropes Jasoda joined were 2 fingers short. So it's said that eventually she collected every rope in the village. And there were a lot of ropes because it's a cowherd village, and you need ropes when you're taking care of cows and moving them. So she had a lot of ropes, and even though she collected every rope, still 2 fingers too short. That's amazing, isn't it? Some kind of mystic power. So this is text 17. Thus, Mother Jasoda joined whatever ropes were available in the household, but still she failed in her attempt to bind Krishna. Mother Jasoda's friends, the elderly gopis in the neighborhood, were smiling and enjoying the fun. Similarly, Mother Jasoda, although laboring in that way, was also smiling. All of them were struck with wonder. Interesting. So she wasn't really in anxiety, she was enjoying the fun. This is a lot of fun, right? Actually, this incident was wonderful because Krishna was only a child with small hands. To bind him should have required only a rope not more than 2 feet long. All the ropes in the house combined together might have been hundreds of feet long, but still he was impossible to bind, for all the ropes together were still too short. Naturally, Mother Jasoda and her gopi friends thought, how is this possible? Seeing this funny affair, all of them were smiling. The first rope was short by a measurement the width of 2 fingers, and after the second rope was added, it was still 2 fingers too short. If the shortness of all the ropes were added together, it must have amounted to the width of hundreds of fingers. Certainly this was astonishing. This was another exhibition of Krishna's inconceivable potency to his mother and his mother's friends. So this is from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. All the elderly gopis in the neighborhood were laughing. In her astonishment, Jasoda thought, a rope of 100 hastas, 150 feet, does not fit around my son's waist, which measures only 1 fist. His small waist is not getting any bigger, and the rope is certainly not getting any shorter. But still, the rope does not reach around him. This is the first amazing thing. Furthermore, when I tie the ropes together, each time it is 2 fingers short. Not 3 fingers or 4 fingers. This is the second amazing thing. You want to hear the third amazing thing? You know how Jasoda finally bound Krishna? She took out a hair tie. And at that point, Krishna, he said, okay, you can bind me now. He surrendered. Krishna thought, you're working so hard, I can't stop you from binding me. At that time, she had given up on the ropes. She took out a hair tie and put it around him. And That's what bound him. Some interesting insider's information. Okay. Did you know that? Krishna was bound by a hair tie finally? That makes it more interesting, doesn't it? Couldn't be bound by 150 feet of rope, but he could be bound by a hair tie. So this is text 18. Because of Mother Jashoda's hard labor, her whole body became covered with perspiration, and the flowers and comb were falling from her hair. When child Krishna saw his mother thus fatigued, he became merciful to her and agreed to be bound. Agreed to be bound is the key word. And the other key is he became merciful because he saw her endeavor. He saw her struggle. She was working hard. I was talking to my godbrother. He's visiting here, Chaitanya Chandra. And he told me something amazing. There was some discussion about the misbehavior of a devotee. And Prabhupada told the devotee who was complaining or pointing out some problem in another devotee, he said, Krishna doesn't see that. He said, Krishna does not see the bad in the devotee. Krishna only sees the service of the devotee. Or we can also say, Krishna only sees the sincerity of the devotee. Meditate on that. Meditate on that. That is amazing. Krishna does not see the fault. The fault is there. He doesn't even see it. He only sees the service. He only sees the heart. And that was true of Prabhupada. That's what Prabhupada saw. He saw the heart. He saw the service. He didn't see the fault. So, in this verse, what's being described is Jasoda is seeing Krishna is seeing the effort of Jasoda. That's what he's noticing. And so many instances and so many cases, Prabhupada would overlook the fault of the devotee, and he would only see his sincerity and his effort. And even though the devotee would do something wrong, Prabhupada would say, but this devotee has done so many wonderful things, so we should focus on that. That's what Prabhupada was seeing. So I think it's important. That's an important lesson. Okay. So now we're going to text 18, purport. When Mother Jasoda and the other ladies finally saw that Krishna, although decorated with many bangles and other jeweled ornaments, could not be bound with all the ropes available in the house, they decided that Krishna was so fortunate that he could not be bound by any material condition. Thus they gave up the idea of binding him. But in competition between Krishna and his devotee, Krishna sometimes agrees to be defeated. Thus, Krishna's internal energy, Yoga Maya, was brought to work, and Krishna agreed to be bound by Mother Jasoda. So this whole pastime is completely under the control of Krishna. He knows what he's doing. And there's a major lesson that's being taught to the whole world, is that your effort alone, without Krishna's blessing, will not produce anything. But that your effort will attract Krishna's blessings. But it's not the effort, it's the blessings, but the effort attracts the blessings. And so, yeah. Thinking of an example for that. Of that, I'm trying, but my trying, I will not be successful just by trying. But if somebody sees me trying and comes and helps me, then I'll be successful. So this person sees that I'm trying, and he sees I will never be successful on my own, but he knows I can help this person. He knows how to help the person, and he helps the person. Then the person is successful. So, yes. So we go to, this is text 18. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has a long purport. Quote, as you cannot bind Krishna even with all the ropes in the house, then it must be concluded that it is his, capital H, good fortune that it should not be. Listen, Jasoda, give up this attempt. This is what Krishna might be saying. It's God's will. You can't do it. Though the village women advised in this way, those was the village women, not Krishna. Let's read that again. As you cannot bind Krishna, even with all the ropes in the house, then it must be concluded that it is his good fortune that it should not be. Listen, Jasoda, give up this attempt. Though the village women advised in this way, Jasoda was determined. Even if evening comes and I tie together all the ropes in the whole village, I must find out just once the extent of my son's waist. Jasoda wanted to teach a lesson to her son. In her persistence, she would not give up her attempt to bind the Lord. In the competition between Krishna and his devotee, the devotee's determination always prevails. Wow! I'll read that again. That's beautiful. In the competition between Krishna and his devotee, the devotee's determination always prevails. So, if your determination is strong, your desire is strong, Krishna will always surrender to you. Isn't that great to know? Don't give up. Thus, seeing his mother's fatigue, Lord Krishna gave up his own persistence, became merciful, and allowed himself to be tied. Krishna's mercy, which reigns as the king of all his potencies and illuminates all others, melts the heart of the Lord and turns it into butter. That means when you get Krishna's mercy, then that affection you get as a result of his mercy will melt his heart. The appearance of Krishna's mercy made his sattva sankalpa and his vibhuti shaktis immediately disappear. The distance of 2 fingers was filled by the devotee's effort and hard work, and the Lord's causeless mercy. The bhakta nishta, firm faith of the devotee, seen in his tireless endeavors to serve and worship the Lord, and the swanishta, the steady quality of the Lord, which brings forth his mercy upon seeing the devotee's efforts, and fatigue caused by Krishna to be devotee's efforts. Upon seeing the devotee's efforts and fatigue caused Krishna to be bound. In other words, the same point is that Krishna sees the effort of the devotee, and then Krishna says, okay, your effort is attracting my mercy, and now I agree to give you mercy. In the absence of these two, which is the effort and the mercy, the rope will remain 2 fingers too short. But when bhakta nishta and swanishta are present, the Lord can be bound. In this pastime, Krishna showed Jasoda and the whole world that only love can bind the Supreme Lord. So that's beautiful. Jasoda is binding Krishna, Krishna is binding Jasoda. They're binding one another in what is love in reality, not some imitation that we're familiar with. So, a devotee is always praying, Krishna, be merciful to me. And so, whatever it is I need to advance, what will happen beyond what I can do myself. I have my limitations. And so this story, this part of the pastime, is illustrating this beautiful concept that mercy is a consequence of effort. And without mercy, we will not be successful. So, excuse me. cover on my tablet has decided to fall off. With a little help from me. Okay. Text 19. O Maharaj Parikshit, this entire universe, with its great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Indra, is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, the Supreme Lord has one transcendental attribute. He comes under the control of his devotees. This was now exhibited by Krishna in this pastime. So, once there's love for Krishna, then you can say Krishna becomes like a puppet in the hands of the devotee. He'll do anything. And Prabhupada has sometimes said that you may want to be God, but a devotee actually has control of God through love. So he's in a much higher position than God. The pastime of Krishna is very difficult to understand, but devotees can understand it. It is therefore said, Darshayam tad vidham loka atmano bhakta vashyatam. The Lord displays the transcendental attribute of coming under the control of his devotees, as stated in Brahma Samhita, Eko pisora chaitam jagadanta koti yaschakterasti jagadanta teranta chayayaranta andantarasta paramana chayantarastam govinnamari prusham tamaham bhajami. By his one plenary portion as Paramatma, the Lord controls innumerable universes with all their demigods. Yet he agrees to be controlled by a devotee. Or sometimes we say that Krishna is Parameshvara and Radharani is Parameshwari. She's the controller of one who controls everything. You could say Krishna is not the supreme controller, that love is the supreme controller. And we could say in our life that we're controlled by love. By our attractions, we're controlled. Krishna is all attractive, so we're most controlled by him in a pure state. In the Upanishads, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can run with more speed than the mind, but here we see that although Krishna wanted to avoid being arrested by his mother, he was finally defeated, and Mother Yasoda captured him because he allowed it. Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahma Sevyamanam. Krishna is served by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. Nonetheless, he stills butter like one who is poverty-stricken. Yamaraj, the controller of all living entities, fears the order of Krishna, yet Krishna is afraid of his mother's stick. These contradictions cannot be understood by one who is not a devotee, but a devotee can understand how powerful is unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. It is so powerful that Krishna can be controlled by an unalloyed devotee. This Pritya Vashyata does not mean that he is under the control of the servant. Rather, he is under the control of the servant's pure love. Good point. So, you see what Prabhupada is saying? It's not that the devotee, he's not under the control of the devotee, he's under the control of the devotee's love. Because there may be devotees that don't control Krishna. So he's under control of their love. Okay. Looks like we have a question. We were talking about seeing the good, Krishna only seeing the good, and Krishna Karsan, he says, if Krishna sees only good in a devotee, why he is sending him or her lessons? It seems he is aware of shortcomings. Yeah, if he needs to be, if it's for their good. But that takes place on another level. When you're talking about Krishna interacting personally, or Krishna giving karma, so the karma agency will work through Paramatma, but Krishna personally won't have to deal with that and won't have to see that. That's the idea. 'Cause, 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 Excuse me, I just took lunch, and when I don't sleep enough after I eat, I get tired. And so the goal is to stay awake, right? Keep asking questions, they keep me awake. And if I fall asleep while I'm talking, I'll wake myself up sooner or later. It could happen. You said that Srila Prabhupada was seeing only good in the devotees, but we know that he was correcting disciples, as he knew they are not perfect. So it appears to be a contradiction. He would, because it's the duty of the spiritual master, to correct. But generally, if there was no need to correct, he would just see the good and overlook the bad. So that's the idea. Is that okay? You know, let's say you're walking off a roof and you kill yourself. So it's not that I don't think you do anything bad, so I don't notice. And he would notice because it was useful. It was in service to that devotee. But otherwise, if it wasn't necessary, he wouldn't focus on that. He is under the control of Krishna is so powerful that Krishna can be controlled by an unalloyed devotee. This Britya Vashata does not mean that he is under the control of the servant. Rather, he is under the control of the servant's pure love. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna. Arjuna ordered him, Senayor ubayor madhye ratam stappaye me chutaha. My dear Krishna, you have agreed to be my charioteer and to execute my orders. Place my chariot between the two armies of soldiers. Krishna immediately executed this order, and therefore one may argue that Krishna also is not independent. But this is one's ajnana, ignorance. Krishna is always fully independent. When he becomes subordinate to his devotees, this is a display of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, the humor of transcendental qualities that increases his transcendental pleasure. Everyone worships Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he sometimes desires to be controlled by someone else. Such a controller can be no one else but a pure devotee. So, the point is, Krishna likes to be controlled because he likes the love of a devotee. But he doesn't like to be controlled by someone who's not pure. But if you have love for Krishna and then he's under your control or controlled by you, then that's a very exalted position. What more could you want than that? Right? Could you want anything more? I don't think so. Recently, a new devotee asked me a question regarding a statement saying that non-devotees have no good qualities. Only a devotee has good qualities. She is new in Krishna consciousness. She has a problem understanding this statement. She sees non-devotees who have not many good qualities, but at the same time very qualified non-devotees. How do you answer this question? Once I was thinking of an interesting question. Sometimes an atheist will ask a theist, or a moderator of a debate between an atheist and a theist will ask, can an atheist have good qualities? And the answer is, I would say, yes, but they can't have divine qualities. So, there are sattvic qualities and there are transcendental qualities. So, certainly, people can have sattvic qualities by being situated in sattva gun, and even atheists can have sattvic qualities. But qualities which are manifested from pure bhakti, they won't have. So, those qualities, those transcendental divine qualities, only the devotee would have because they only manifest as part of bhakti. But as far as good material qualities, yeah, anybody can have those. You just situate yourself morally or dharmically or in sattva guna, and those qualities will be there. But divine qualities, like you can be humble, but humility, transcendental humility, is different from just ordinary material humility. Right? Because an atheist cannot have the divine quality of humility. They can only have the material quality of humility, because the divine quality of humility means to be humble in the face of God, to understand I'm not the supreme controller and so forth. So how can an atheist have that kind of humility? They may be humble with another individual, they may be self-effacing and not have a big ego and so forth, in relation to other people. But in relation to God, if they don't accept God, then there's no transcendental humility. Because that means you have to place yourself under God and know that His energies are controlling you and you're not controlling His energies. So that's the idea. Like, Prabhupada made this statement, which is like, it just strikes people in the wrong way. And Prabhupada said there's no love in the material world. And so what did he mean by that? Well, there's no transcendental love. So the love we read about in this section of Bhagavatam, that love that Yasoda had for Krishna, that love is so intense. You don't find that love. It won't exist between people. It can't exist. So does that mean people don't have love? Well, it depends how you define love. But they don't have prema, or they don't have transcendental affection for one another that would be exhibited by pure devotees. They can't have that. Can they have affection and love for another person in a materially defined way? Yes. So when Prabhupada says there's no love in this world, he means no divine love. What are the divine qualities of a pure devotee? Well, so many. So many you can't list them all. And even if you could, they're difficult to understand unless you have them. But Prabhupada said one of the greatest qualities of a devotee is the devotee's compassion, concern, always thinking about how to save people, how to help people, how to communicate to them, how to give them prasadam, give them books, how to bring Krishna to them. That's one of the most outstanding features of a pure devotee. They're always thinking about others. And others' unhappiness makes them unhappy. Others' happiness makes them happy. There's so many. Prabhupada said, devotees are perfect gentlemen. You can read the qualities in the Bhagavad Gita. So many places Krishna describes the qualities of a pure devotee, of Brahmins, of sadhus. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is that okay? Well, and then you want to say, well, what's the most outstanding quality of the pure devotee? Well, the most outstanding quality is that he surrendered to Krishna. But another outstanding quality is he's humble. He doesn't fault other people. If he faults anyone, he's faulting himself. That's another outstanding quality. And his sacrifice for the service of others, it's another outstanding quality. Like giving up personal convenience for the service of others. Concern for all conditioned souls. Concern for the condition of the world. Prabhupada writing his books, spending so much time, that was his concern for all conditioned souls. So these are some of the many natural qualities of a devotee. Okay. So, I'm trying to find the verse. Verse 19. This is from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Though Krishna possesses all possible powers, he is bound and controlled by prema. This bondage, however, being the most astonishing attribute of the Lord, is not a fault, but a beautiful transcendental ornament in Krishna's body. Yes. So Prabhupada is saying this, the fact that Krishna is bound by love is not at all a fault. It's a most outstanding quality. What does Prabhupada say? Does he say the most outstanding quality? But a beautiful transcendental ornament of Krishna's personality. It's his nature. And that's the nature of love. By his very nature, Krishna is self-satisfied, yet he suffers from hunger. He is aptakama, automatically fulfills all of his desires, yet he is dissatisfied and desirous of prema. Though Krishna is the personification of peace and pure goodness, he becomes angry. Krishna is the master of the goddess of fortune, yet he steals like a beggar. Though Krishna instills fear in all, he flees in fear of Jasoda's stick. Though Krishna travels at the speed of light, he is easily caught by the firm grip of his mother. Though Krishna is Though Krishna is condensed bliss, he cries in sorrow. Though Krishna is unlimited and all-pervading, he is limited by being tied up. So he has these two things are going on. You have his God side, and you have his personal side. So, as God, he has all these qualities. It's like you've defined God. What is God? God is this, 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 and this. And then you define qualities of Krishna, and in many ways they seem to be the exact opposite of the qualities of God. That's what's being described here. I'm sorry, I was actually falling asleep while I was reading it. I went to bed late last night. I couldn't fall asleep. Excuse me for that. I have to go over it because I'm a little tired. I want to remember what I just read. So what does Prabhupada say? In all these incidents, Krishna was directly revealing to Jasoda his innate quality of being controlled by his devotees. All of this cannot be explained as simply an act or imitation performed by Krishna. To pure devotees throughout the world who could understand his activities, the Supreme Lord exhibited how much he can be subdued by his devotees. So this is the real thing. That God has all these amazing qualities, but the real quality is that he's controlled by a devotee. The devotee's love melts his heart. And he wants to be controlled by a devotee, even though he said he's reluctant to give that love, but he wants to be controlled by the devotee. So he's willing to give it to the right devotee. And he's willing to be controlled. And love, they say love makes the world go round. It makes Krishna go round also. So, in these pastimes, especially this pastime with Jasoda, Krishna is revealing the essence of his godhood. He's not revealing his power, his majesty, or his opulence, but he's revealing the essence of his godhood, which is that he's bound by love. And in the Damodar-ashtakam, we sing one line to the devotees who are attracted to this majestic feature of the Lord in Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am bound by pure love. I'm starting to wake up now. If I fall asleep one more time, we'll end class, okay? One of the good qualities of a devotee is to be straightforward. But in this world, we sometimes have to be diplomatic. If we start to be straightforward, we may fall into troubles. It's also said that a devotee should not put anyone into an awkward situation. If we start to behave in a straightforward way, we may put others in anxiety. How to find a balance. What does that have to do with what we're reading? I wanted to stay on the topic. Can you explain how that relates to this pastime? That's like a whole different topic. And generally, the principle of a Brahmin is that he's how do we say? A Brahmin is honest. He doesn't hide anything. He's not a liar. And Krishna Karshan is saying, but sometimes if you're too honest, people take advantage of you. So the balance is you have your own personal behavior, how you deal with friends and family and so on, and those you trust. And in general, even we want to deal that way with the public as far as possible. Straightforward. This is who I am. This is what I am. This is who Krishna is. This is how things are. Now, sometimes if we understand we're dealing with a vicious person, then we may not want to reveal something because they may take advantage of us. So we would conceal that. And so that you're doing in order to protect the interest of Krishna or another devotee, or maybe even protect the interest of someone's life. So in that case, then if you're not straightforward, it would be for a higher purpose. Like we give the example, there's that story. Two criminals were looking to kill innocent people, and the innocent people were hiding in the house of a Brahmin. So now those criminals come and they ask the owner of the house, did you see two people running through the forest? So in order to protect those people, which would be a higher dharma than truthfulness in this case, because being truthful would cause their illegal and untimely death, you would say, no, I haven't seen them. And so you did lie. But by not lying, you would be responsible for those people being murdered. So your lying was an act of protection, and your lying was actually a dharma. And you're being straightforward, although we shouldn't lie, in that context, would have caused their death. So sometimes we may not be able to be straightforward with people who are also not straightforward. It relates to the good qualities of the devotee, yeah. So the service of Krishna always has to be protected and executed in the best way. We would just, for example, we would distribute books sometimes, and the security would come in a shopping center, and they would say, "You cannot distribute books here." We would say, "Okay, I didn't know. I will go." And they would ask, "Are you here alone? Are you with other people?" And we would say, "We're here alone." Why would we say we're here alone? Because if we said we're here with other people, then they would say, "Take me to those other people." And we need to ask them to leave. But I say I'm here alone, then it may take an hour or two or the rest of the day for them to find the other devotees, and then that allows the other devotees to distribute books. So we weren't being truthful, but we were not being truthful because perhaps there was no other place to distribute books. And so it was a higher dharma, in this case, that the books would be distributed rather than I tell the truth. So this is a decision you have to make in terms of protecting the interest of Krishna. But the general principle, general policy was be straightforward. If something is the way it is, then tell it as it is. Don't tell it in some other way. But if by telling it in some as it is, Krishna's interest would be in some way harmed, then we would accept it as a higher principle. To protect Krishna's interest, even if that means not telling the truth entirely. No, I haven't seen anybody else. I'm here alone. Okay, I'll go. And then you leave the mall and you go into the parking lot, which is also private property. But you told him you would go, and you're not entirely dishonest. You did go. You just went into the parking lot. You didn't tell him where you're going. And although you know that he means that you should leave the property, still, for the service of Krishna, if specifically that is a very good place to distribute books, you don't, and you have nowhere else to go, you want to give people Prabhupada's books. So you tell the security guard that, yeah, I'm leaving. And maybe you even walk off the lot, and the security guard sees you walk off the lot, and he goes back inside. And you coming back inside, you have nowhere to go, and you're waiting for the other devotees who may stay there all day. And you see so many people who would be interested in Prabhupada's books, and you want to give them to them. So you take a chance. And you take that as a higher service. So that's not really being dishonest. That's giving people the highest truth. That's the way we would look at it. You're giving the highest truth to somebody. So those are exceptions. But in general, ordinary dealings, we are instructed we should not be deceitful, but we should be straightforward. Is that okay? Is that more than okay? See, yeah, Brahmins are straightforward. That's the idea. Okay, so why don't we read text number 20? No, there's still more. Still more to this purport. And I'm still awake. So now that I'm awake, I'm still awake, let's continue. Swavasena means within the control only of his own self. Though Krishna is independent, Swavasena, where do we see his control? Krishna controls the entire universe along with millions of powerful demigods. Although Krishna is the fully independent supreme controller, he becomes controlled by the prema of his devotees. The prema, the essence of Krishna, Chit Shakti, gives rise to the Lord's highest bliss. That has been explained previously. So we've said many times, you say that Krishna is, you could say Krishna is a slave of love. Krishna is a slave of love. Krishna is controlled by love. He is mad after love. He's just a slave of it. And we were talking last week, knowing that Krishna is a slave of love, and knowing that he wants your love, it's kind of like you have some ice cream that Krishna likes. So why don't you give it to him? So you have some love, which is a flavor that Krishna likes. So why don't you give him some love rather than withhold that love? He wants your love, so give it to him. So he has a huge appetite for love. And so, what about, the question is being asked, what about intimate pastimes? And what do you mean by that question? What about hearing intimate pastimes of Krishna? with the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls. Is that what you mean? I'm assuming that's what you mean. What about hearing... the way Prabhupada instructed us is, yes, you can hear, but that you would not focus on only hearing intimate pastimes. You hear everything. Hear the whole Bhagavatam. And then you'll come to the 10th canto, and then you'll hear those pastimes. But unless you're very involved in Krishna consciousness, you wouldn't just focus on hearing those pastimes. You would focus on hearing everything. And at a later stage in your Krishna consciousness, if you're cultivating a certain rasa or relationship, then you may focus on hearing specific pastimes. But if pastimes become, the word intimate could mean many things. But there are certain books which describe very intimate dealings between Krishna and the gopis, and not really recommended to read. It may be misunderstood, may be seen as something material. So to be very absorbed in very, very esoteric pastimes, which are difficult for conditioned souls to understand because they'll see them to be like ordinary material activities, that should be avoided. Okay, there's my tilak right there. How do I get out of the sun? Shine. Like that. Should we read one more? Let's read one more. This is going to be text 20. This whole pastime of Jasoda and Krishna, it's all just a manifestation of love. Neither Lord Brahma, nor Lord Shiva, nor even the goddess of fortune, who is always the better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer from this material world, such mercy as received by Mother Jasoda. This is a comparative study between Mother Jasoda and other devotees of the Lord, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 5, 142, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabha Britya. The only Supreme Master is Krishna, and all others are his servants. Krishna has the transcendental quality of Britya Vasyata, becoming subordinate to his Britya, or servant. Now, although everyone is Britya, servant, and although Krishna has the quality of becoming subordinate to his Britya, the position of Mother Jasoda is the greatest. Lord Brahma is Britya, a servant of Krishna, and he is Adikavi, the original creator of this universe. Nonetheless, even he could not obtain such mercy as Mother Jasoda. As for Lord Shiva, he is the topmost Vaishnava. What to speak of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the Lord's constant companion in service, since she always associates with his body. But even she could not get such mercy. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was surprised, thinking, what did Mother Jasoda and Nanda Maharaj do in their previous lives by which they got such a great opportunity? The opportunity to be the affectionate father and mother of Krishna. In this verse, there are 3 negative pronouncements, na, na, na. When anything is uttered 3 times, do it, do it, do it, one should understand this is meant to indicate great stress on a fact. In this verse we find na lebhire, na lebhire, na lebhire. Yet Mother Yasoda is in the supermost exalted position, and thus Krishna has become completely subordinate to her. What does that mean? Obtained, mercy obtained, Krishna's mercy. That means nor Brahma nor Shiva nor the goddess of fortune attained the mercy that Jasoda attained. Yet Mother Jasoda is in the supermost exalted position, and thus Krishna has become completely subordinate to her. The word vimuktidat is also significant. There are different types of liberation, such as sayuja, salokya, sharupya, sharshti, and samipya. But vimukti means special mukti, when after liberation one is situated on the platform of prema bhakti, one is said to have achieved vimukti, special mukti. Therefore, the word na is mentioned. That exalted platform of prema is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as prema pumarto mahan. And Mother Yasoda naturally acts in such an exalted position in loving affairs. She is therefore a Nityasiddha devotee, an expansion of Krishna's Ladini potency. His potency to enjoy transcendental bliss through expansions who are special devotees. Ananda Chinmay Rasa Patavitabis. It's from Brahma Samhita 537. Such devotees are not sadhana siddha. So Yasoda is an eternal mother of Krishna. Yes. So, yes. Let's go over this a minute. Krishna is subdued by Mother Yasoda's love, so he becomes her servant. And vimukti means special liberation, and that's prema bhakti, love of Krishna. Yes. Okay. We can read Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's purport and discuss, and then we will end class, if that's okay with you. Krishna Karshan is saying, what, I shouldn't hear about devotees loving Krishna because I'm envious of Krishna. Well, that's the way you'll overcome your envy. We should hear, but we should hear from the right devotees, and we should not hear things that appear to be like mundane, that may appear to us to resemble mundane sex, and that we misunderstand that. But this pastime between Yasoda and Krishna, you definitely should hear it, because if you don't have love, at least this will show you what love is and maybe inspire you to get it. But there's nothing in this world that even comes close to this kind of love. And so hopefully by hearing about it, you get inspired to want it. That's the idea. Or maybe you'll get inspired to want the kind of love that Yasoda has. So let's read. This verse is spoken on seeing the exceptional devotion of the Queen of Braja, who among all the devotees brought Krishna under her control. Vimukti here means Visesha Mukti, specialized liberation, or prema. Vimukti Dat means Krishna, the giver of prema. Varino, Lord Brahma. Varinko, the inconceivable mercy that Yasoda obtained from Krishna, the giver of prema, was never received by Brahma, Shiva, or even Lakshmi. Yeah, so this love that's going on, it's like very special. Why we celebrate lamps? It's in the Shastra that in these special times you should offer a lamp, and if you don't, it's really inauspicious. If you don't offer a lamp at Kartik, it's a form of worship by offering one of the elements to Krishna, light. We offer water, we offer fragrance, we offer different elements. So it's I don't know any other reason beyond that. The Shastra says, the lamps should be out. But why? It's something good offer something. So that's normally, what's offered in an arti. The main thing is the lamp. There may be more esoteric reasons, but Offhand, I don't know. Krishna wants you to do it, that's why. Lord Brahma is the son of Bhagavan Sri Krishna and the Adi Guru of the devotees. As the topmost Vaishnava, Shiva is considered superior to Brahma. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who resides on the chest of Vishnu, is superior to even Shiva and Brahma, the shelters of Sakya and Dasharas. Nevertheless, Mother Yasoda is in the supermost exalted position because she alone obtained such extraordinary mercy from the Lord. It is wrong to think that Yasoda is a sadhana siddha who got a boon from Brahma in her previous life as Dara. The prema of Yasoda cannot be attained as a result of Brahma's boon. For Brahma himself prays to become a blade of grass in Vraja. Indeed, Brahma is counted in a much, much lower class. Sukadeva says, O Parikshit, although you know about the Nanda and Yasoda who are famous in the scriptures as Nityasiddhas, in answer to your casual question about their austerities in the previous lives, I told the story of Drona and Dara, who are very small expansions of Nanda and Yasoda. Okay, so we're going to end here. No, you should not be envious of Mother Yasoda. You should be happy that someone loves Krishna. And you can be inspired by Mother Yasoda. To be envious of Mother Yasoda would be certainly horrible for you. Or you should be enthralled by Mother Yasoda's love. And you should aspire to have love like that. So don't be envious, let her inspire you. And relish this story, relish the love between Yasoda and Krishna and how it's manifesting. And allow yourself to experience the transcendental pleasure of hearing about this pastime and just enter into the mood of it and what Yasoda is feeling and what Krishna is feeling. And then you'll start to understand what love is if you allow yourself in some way to feel what you think Krishna is feeling, or what you can ascertain Krishna is feeling, what you could ascertain Yasoda is feeling. And then you start to understand the height of these emotions, the intensity of these emotions, the depth of these emotions. That's the idea. Is that okay? And on that happy note, I'm going to sign off. Because as you can tell, I'm falling asleep. And it's only 4 p.m. So, do I have your permission to sign off? Is that okay? And we'll see you tomorrow, 7. It'll be 7 a.m. my time. I'm going to fall asleep in this chair. Like in 3 seconds I'll be gone. And we'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. my time. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gauranga Nityananda. Sweet.